y'all doing today? Yes, honey. I got me a little bit of daylight. The sun hasn't shined here. I mean, bright like it did today. Um, in weeks. So yeah, I wanted to get up here and recap the last video, which was versus, versus. And I spoke about how the book, this book, has dual teachings. And because we have taken it from different interpretations, we have gathered that information and held on to it as a belief system. And I happen to go through my spiritual awakening. And when I say that, I want to give the disclaimer that that doesn't mean anything unless you apply the teachings to your life. So it took me a while to even start to apply, but anything you do in repetition, such as when you drive a car, the more you drove it, the more comfortable you got with it. So y'all hear my bird? My bird start cutting up when I get on this video because I don't be hearing all that unless it's early in the morning. So it's around 8ish here, and yeah. So that's another thing with spirituality. It's a connectedness. It's a oneness. Is we're connected to everything. There was a verse that said when and I don't go verbatim because I haven't read this thing cover to cover, but when I think it was Peter denied Jesus and the rooster crowed. So I am understanding through spirituality, explaining oneness, connectedness, understanding that you're connected to everything, every living thing, and the stars, moon, universe, all of that is affecting and can affect, or whatever you want to put it, but just understanding that we're all connected and in some way, shape, or form, and we're connected to this power that it speaks of in this book. But because it was placed to not deceive, because it is powerful scriptures in here that lets you know and is clear and clarifies the message, but you have all these other messages in your belief system. And so I basically went over you know who told you that you were naked? Who told you you was out here by yourself? Who told you you didn't have anything or anyone, or you didn't get this because you did that? Who told you you were naked? That's a verse. That's a verse. And then it's taught as if a snake, and that's what I talk about, these whimsical stories in here that really makes no sense, but you're supposed to get something from it. And it's simple to say that a snake didn't tell you anything. A person. That's what spirituality is telling you, is that if there is someone anywhere that is aggravating your spirit, you have to remove them. If there's a thing that's aggravating your spirit, remove it. I remember going through my dark night of the soul, and I don't like to use the word hate, but being in that place work was throwing me for a loop. I could not stand it. And I kept saying, I'll be gone in April. I'll be gone in April. And the universe lined it up where I was terminated. I've never been terminated legally because I was terminated before and they had to hire me back or whatever. But I'd never been terminated like that. And I was like, wait. Because when you start to speak your things into existence, this was before spirituality. Understand this. This is before learning spirituality. When you start to speak, you are sending off signals to God, spirit, source, to a power that creates worlds. I would say that every single day. I ain't finna be here. They like, well, what you got lined up? Because that's what we as humans, we expect. You've heard it before. Don't quit no job before you got another job. Because we've been taught that we have to work. When in reality, your work before you get your breakthrough is to renew your mind. So I have been speaking and telling the universe. So then what happens, right, is, oh, it happened. And what was I to do? So I did what I thought I should do. I tried to go apply for jobs. I have Wi-Fi in my home. I went to apply for jobs. My laptop was too slow. I went to the library for let's say a week. Their system was shut down. Come on now. I went to the temp agency. Their system was shut down. And it was like, stop. And I'm like, okay. So now I'm talking to God because I still at this time talk to God. And because I've always been a believer, but I always thought what most people think is he is in the sky and I have to reach out to him. And so when you have that limited thought of power, you do what you know, and it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. But I was a believer. Like, I was like, okay, since you're making it where nothing is working, what do you want me to do? And it's clear as day. It's clear as day. Rest. And I was like, what? Like, and that's what I started to do. And just learn, study, research, because I knew that I was in the process of renewing my mind. So I kept learning. I was just, at that time, I was listening to like motivational speakers. And then slowly but surely, I would get like nuggets of info and information. And then it was like, okay, spirituality teaches you meditate and all of this stuff. But yeah, it's like, I'm sorry about the noise. I have the door open. I am like loving it. Okay. So yeah, I just started changing my belief system, even to the point where I told God, like, and I said it, like, I'm like, look, you want me to rest? You gotta make sure everything good. And I don't know if you've heard this before, but people that are believers, like, checks start showing up in the mail and stuff started happening. I was like, okay. You know, I was like, it was times where I hyperventilated at something that miraculously happened. And I was like, whoa. Whoa. And so what typically happens, and I've talked to my other friends about it, is when you start seeing miracles, it kind of spooks you. And so that's the point where I was like, no, no, I'm on to something. So I stayed there. I stayed, I used scripture like be still. I used scripture. Like I went back to scripture because spirituality is so simple. It's basically telling you to talk to your spirit. And when you're talking to your spirit. When you're hearing things that either feed your spirit or demolish it. Like yesterday was really, really heavy. And so when I say this event, you'll know what day, it was. But it was where the world heard about Kevin Samuels. And I was I was so heavy that I really I recorded for you guys, but it was like I couldn't even I didn't even release it. I didn't because my message was so scattered, and I might eventually release it just for but my message was so scattered because I couldn't get my thoughts together, and it was because I seen the news, but it was like not clear, and then I seen all of these people like joking about it, and like now this is the thing. When I saw the news, I was like, oh, because I don't know him. I don't watch him. I know of the things that he did or got famous for, but I don't know that man. So it didn't hit me in any kind of way. And so that's what I mean is that you've allowed the people that have been affected by the words that he spoke, you've allowed someone to taint your spirit. And that's what I mean. It's like you can't allow people to tell you, I understand that it was like people would call him to get it, to get advice or whatever. And so it's like you are, I said this, what a shame that a person will call someone to on advice that and they know that it's going to be hurtful, or they have an inkling. I could see someone calling being innocent, but even then, that's the problem. Is like we allow people to tell us things, and then we carry that. We carry that. So when I say heavy, it was that I seen all of these people like having all of these bad, really, really ugly stuff being said. And I was like, okay. And then it clicked like, that's what I mean. Because I've also been working on my triggers, and I've been working on judging. And so this is a work I've been doing for a while, the judging part. Because if you realize that we're all one, you can't judge the next person for their spiritual growth. You can't judge the next person for what it is that they do or anything. It's like there is no judge because I don't want to judge myself. You know, it says, let's be judged. Don't judge, let's be judged. And it's like, I don't want to judge myself. So I'm not going to, like, I live my life where I'm like, and I always have. That's why spirituality, like, kind of was perfect for me because I've always lived my life where I didn't care what anybody else thought. And so when I would get these bits of information, even if it was like whatever, I would separate myself from that person because I see that I'm not going to accept that information. One time I was dating someone and he was like, "You jaded." And I'm like, "I'm jaded." And let me tell you how long that statement stuck with me. It stuck with me so long that I figured out what he meant by that. because I went over my I went you know I to him I was like, boy, out my face, you mad, you know, but and I went on with my life, even still with him. But he was like, somebody hurt you, and I'm like, boy, you see what I'm doing to you? Ain't nobody hurt me. I ain't never been hurt. Nobody. I got 4 brothers. I've been through the game. You know, so I had that mentality. And because he would explain like I had this wall up. And I was just like, but hearing that one little uh critique made me find the answer. It wasn't my it wasn't a man who jaded me. I never been jaded. I never met a dog. I don't think all men are shit. I just never had that concept. That's why I have great experiences. But I didn't have daddy issues. My daddy raised me in conjunction with his mom. So he was there. I knew how a woman was supposed to be treated. Because I had 4 brothers who catered to me. I was the oldest girl in the family unit. So I didn't, and so I was like, what are y'all talking about? I mean, I was saying, what is he talking about? It stuck with me for about, I want to say about 4 years until I realized, until I realized it was mommy issues. I had detached from my mother emotionally at the age of at 10. On those days, like, I'm coming to see you, baby. We lived in the same neighborhood. So I would see her occasionally, and I looked just like her, like spitting image. And people would be like, aren't you such and such daughter? So I always heard about her. And then when I would bump into her, it was like, I'm coming to see you. I'll be there tonight. Don't go to sleep. And I would remember waiting. I remember waiting at the window. And I remember at like 10 years old, I said to myself, of course, man, fuck her. And that was the day that I detached. That was the day. I mean, I would fall asleep in my plate waiting. You know, I would be like, I'm not done eating yet, to my grandmother. And she'd be like, and she never talked bad about my mother. She never was like, she ain't coming, get your ass in there and go. No, it was like none of that. It was none of that. It was no anger at her. And so she taught me how not to judge. But my mother told me how to separate. So when it came to spirituality, it was so easy for me to separate from opinions of people because I never cared about opinions of people. So I hope you're following me, and I hope I'm not all over the place. But that's the thing. It was heavy yesterday with the Kevin Samuels thing because I was like, man, these people are really mean, you know, like, and then I talked to my friend about it, and she was like, but he was really mean. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It just like took me so, I was just like, man, it blew me. And it was like, do I talk about this? And so I was having a conversation with like the maintenance man, and he came to the house, and he brought it up, and I was like, and it's so crazy because what I said, what I'm going to say now is what rolled off my tongue, and I just want to share it with you. I said, you know, I don't know where I heard this from, but you get a certain amount of time in life. Nobody knows the day or hour. That's a verse. And I don't judge him, but I can say that when I leave here, that I don't want to be known for that type of thing. And there's 2 ways. You know, of course, there's a whole bunch of ways, but I mean, I look at everything as black and white. It's no in between with me. Either you speak life or you tear a person down. And I refuse to be the person that tears somebody down intentionally or voluntarily, because, and this is now, because I'm not saying that I never did it. I'm even saying that I apologize to myself for doing it to other people. I don't care that it was at a young age. I had to forgive myself for that. No, I didn't go out what they say, the 12 steps and apologize to everybody, because it ain't got nothing to do with that. Everybody has their experience. Either they get over it, get past it, or you hang on to it. So I apologize to myself. I forgave myself. I feel my heart right now. I forgave myself. I apologize to myself for the things that I did that I know in which I may have hurt somebody for what I said. But it's two things. You got a certain amount of time here, and what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? There's always going to be the two polarities. So this is a perfect example of the two differences, the two sides of the spectrum. You have people that are praising him, and then you have people who despise him. And what's the loudest? Very few people are coming out and saying anything in his favor. Very few. And then even when, and I mean in a humble way, not using the ego, because a lot of people who are speaking to him and still putting him up, when I say who are coming out and putting him up in a good way and still putting him on a pedestal and still willing and ready to tear the person down, tear a group of people down. Are y'all just mad? I'm just like, whoa. And that's what I mean about distraction. That man was a distraction to somebody who was looking for their own spirit. You're looking for validation. Your validation is in you. As a man think in his heart, so is he. Just a recap of the things that I went, the verses that I went through on the previous one before. Who told you that? Who told you you wasn't nothing? Who told you you were leftovers? Who told you you wasn't worthy? Who told you that? And it doesn't matter who told you. You have to tell you. Every tongue that rises up against you, you can condemn. That's the stinger. It didn't say, I think I quoted it or something, and I think I said something like, any tongue that rises up against me will be condemned. No, it says you will condemn. It's telling you in the book. But we got all of these scattered teachings that's saying, that's put, offering up distractions, and was taught that way and teach that way and continue on this old deep south first, Old Testament. God is doing a new thing. You are the extension of the Father, which means you have the power to create anything that you want. Anything you want in your existence, think it and believe it in your heart. I had a real battle with this, and I think I said this, and it was like, where do you think the I am affirmations came from? It's like it needed to be put in another way because people weren't even accepted. It's so many people that don't accept this belief system, but it's in here. It was dual teachings, baby. It was dual teachings because how do I control you? By telling you something. How do I control you? By making you think something. But when you break it down, it's nothing but a book that explains a power and a source that you have never seen before. And the main thing I want you to understand is this book was written by people. So understand me when I say, like, it's nothing. So when you start to tap into your spirits, if you decide to learn more about spirituality, understand that it is things that you have been telling yourself as truth, as reality, and not even understanding or getting the concept that none of this stuff, everything is temporary. Everything. You got people who think they stuck. You are not stuck. You think you stuck. As the Bible say, the lame man that was there, he asked him, did he want to be free? I need somebody to come help me. He said, no, get up and walk. That's because you were thinking you're stuck. You're not stuck. I say this, lean into spirit. Tell spirit what you want and watch it show up. Believe that there is a spirit and watch it show up. It has to show up. That's the universal law. Believe that it'll show up. I got this verse and I'm like, I gotta say it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom. That's a scripture. That's a scripture. That means you gotta find it. I'm giving them to you. Bump all that stuff other people interpreted for you. Go in there, read it. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, you have told yourself that was Kevin Samuel's spirit to tear down people. That was his spirit because he tore down himself. That's why he had the false power, the 3-piece suit and the this and that and the looks and all of that. All of those were false powers that don't matter when your heart stops, baby. It don't matter. None of that matters. We all going. We're all going. And what do you want them to say about you? What do you want them to say about you? Don't matter what nobody taught you. Don't matter what you did. You become a better person. It's the universal law. Just be better and just be better than you was yesterday. Be more mindful than you was yesterday. And everything you do for somebody else, you do it for yourself first. I'm going to be mindful of my mind. What's coming in here? What's going out? What am I thinking? I'm going to be kind to myself. I mean, to show you what I'm talking about, I'm going to say it and I want you to get it. One of my affirmations. I am receiving. And a woman in this complex came to my door and dropped off a trolley full of stuff. Brand new stuff. She said, when I see your porch, it makes me happy. I would never think that my porch, the colors, the lights, what she said, I make sure to walk my dog at night when it's dark enough that I can see the lights come on. You know, they solar powered. I'm like, I'm filled, just filled. Like, look at God that's in here, that's sending off signals. There's a scripture that says, I made you in my image and the likeness thereof. Look up likeness. Look up the word likeness if it's confusing you. When you look at yourself, you should see God. You should see God. You are made in its image and the likeness thereof, which means you can have anything you want to have. You can feel how you want to feel. You are beautiful. You are love. You are light. You walk with an authority because that you were given over all creeping things, crawling things, the fish in the sea, the birds in the air. You have authority. Who told you you was naked? I am affirmations came from the Bible. Who should I tell them sent me? I am that I am. And when you start talking to yourself, telling yourself, you are bold, you are courageous, you are beautiful, you are loving, you are love, you are money, you are light. You will watch those things show up in your life. Kick your feet up. Relax. People want to say, call those things into existence. You ain't got to call nothing. Know that it's already there. So, I'm going to get out of here. I'm trying to see if I got, because I be taking notes, girl. Because I want to get this over to y'all. Like, start changing the belief system. I remember speaking to a buddy of mine years ago. It had to be like 10 years ago. And she repeated back to me, even though it was like not verbatim, something I had said to her. She's super religious. She church goer, honey. I ain't gonna say her name, but she when she hear this, she know. We was sitting in the office, and remember, I ain't went to church since I was 18. So we was sitting in the office, and she was saying something about church or the Bible or whatever. And she was like, we just be doing, like, kind of like we're wrong or we do wrong or whatever. And I was like, girl, what if the Bible was written by 10 fat men and just decided to put in there what they wanted? And literally about a month ago, she's starting, not through me, this is just her walk. She's starting to realize, like, the foolery. And she said something like that to me, but it wasn't the same thing. But I was like, yes, friend. I was like, what I'm doing is planting a seed. I am not talking against religion. I am talking against religion. I'm not talking about the church. I'm not talking against the church. I'm not talking against a pastor. I'm not talking about not going to fellowship. I'm not saying any of that. All I'm saying is get to know your spirit for yourself and understand if you're telling yourself things like, when it rains, it pours. Don't nothing ever work out for me. God, every time, you are speaking to your spirit. And so then, when it rains, it pours. I say things like, when life give me lemons, I make lemonade. I say things like, you know, I always get the best case scenario. That's my new one. I give it to you. Use it. When something bad happens, I say when I win, I win. So that this don't even mean nothing. Because life is going to still happen. It's going to still happen. You know, since my spirituality, I lost somebody very, very close to me. I was sitting there, and of course, naturally, I started to cry. But then when I realized he's still here, his spirit still lives. Like, I will always remember him. And the tears dried up. You know, so I'm gonna get out of here. And then got a little dark. I'm gonna do another video tonight, so I gotta get some light up in here, baby. But we done watch the sunset, baby. You, yeah, you. I love you.